I'm Quentin Ring. I'm Beyond Baroque's executive director. Yeah, okay, great. Sorry about that. This has actually been the first time we run a virtual reading in a little bit. And so, Yvonne, let me know if you're able to resolve that a little later on. But Yvonne was, I think, just starting off by saying a little bit about Beyond Baroque. Oh, and he's just texting me that he think he lost his internet by accident. So, you know, hopefully we'll get him back in just a minute. So we did want to start off by just saying, welcoming everybody to this program. We're super excited. This is a reading of the winners of the inaugural Amanda Gorman Future Voices Poetry Prize. We'll get to the program in just a minute, but we did want to begin by acknowledging Beyond Baroque's presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielina and Tongva peoples. We acknowledge the wrong done to these peoples through settler colonialism. And as an arts organization, we are committed to uplifting Indigenous writers and communities. Just to say a few brief words about Beyond Baroque, we are Los Angeles's oldest literary institution, founded in 1968. We support writers, we nurture new writing. We have a variety of programs, including free workshops. Our Wednesday night poetry workshop in particular has been running continuously since 1969. It's currently on Zoom. But a huge swath of LA's better known poets and writers have gone through that workshop. You know, I encourage all of our poets here today to check that out as well. We do have some upcoming programs that we'd love to have folks come back for in person, but they're also streamed on YouTube. Those include next Saturday, we have a reading with Molly Bendel and Karen Kevorkian at 8 o'clock. We have a little bit of an art opening earlier before that. Earlier in the day, in a collaboration with our partners at Safe Place for Youth, we have a little bit of a Indigenous Peoples Day festival in the garden with some readings, dancing, crafts as well. So please do come check that out. I think I'm just going to go sort of into a little bit of a talking about the prize itself as well. Ivan's just messaging me. He's back. He's going to be back to MC in a sec. But if it's okay with you, Ivan, I'll just sort of talk a little bit about the prize. You know, this is a really exciting, important moment for us. This prize, you know, which we launched for the first time ever this year, provides a total of $10,000 in scholarship and prize money to 7 winners. So I just want to start by telling the scholarship winners, Indigo Eatmon, Simone Wesley, Lucia Kornzweig. I hope, you know, congratulations, first of all. I hope you're enjoying your first weeks and months in college. To our contest winners, the contest was open to 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. Tina Mai, Jessica Kim, Fiona Lu, and Anna Yang. You know, can't wait to see what you do next. Good luck applying to college. Keep on writing. We're just, to all 7 of you, we're just so impressed and amazed by your talents as writers, and just really glad to have you here to read and to see what you do next. So as I mentioned, Beyond Baroque is LA's oldest literary institution. We've been around for almost 55 years. As the director of this space, that means I'm in touch with multiple generations of writers who took their first workshop with us, or had their first reading here, got their first publication through us, found crucial mentorship and support through our programs. There's nothing more moving to me in this job than the sheer number of folks, young and old, who come to me to say how important Beyond Baroque was to their development as a poet. And that's sort of what we exist to do. It's the heart of our mission, is to nurture writers. So it's very important to me, and I think to everyone at Beyond Baroque, that we continue to renew our project for every generation, to continually find new ways to support young poets as they find their voice, learn their craft, and make their way in the world. And so we're always thinking about how to do that. I myself came to this space many, many decades after Beyond Baroque first started offering programs. I'm certainly younger than the institution itself. But even in my time here, I've gotten to see the impact that our work has on encouraging young poets. As an example, a relevant example, I met Amanda Gorman when she was a very young poet in our workshops. I think probably about 8 or 9 years ago. And it's been an absolute joy and an astonishment to see, a teen poet from our workshops grow up and use her poetry to move millions of people around the world. So in the depths of the pandemic, when we really started to think about new ways to support young poets, and particularly young poets of color, we decided we wanted to honor Amanda's worldwide impact and her legacy here at Beyond Baroque. So we decided to launch this prize and scholarship. The scholarship was open, as I said, the college-bound student poets of color. The contest, meanwhile, is open to student poets of color in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, all of them based in California. Received an incredible number of wonderful applications. And we're really proud to be able to honor the winners today. I do have to say a number of thanks for this prize. There are a lot of people who contributed to this and worked on the prize. First, this wouldn't have been possible without the support of a number of donors, especially Jim and Helen Zukin, as well as Syria Contreras, Shonda Buchanan, Janice Littlejohn, and a number of other very, very generous folks. So truly thank you to all who've supported this. A lot of people also worked on putting this prize together. Those include our staff, past and present, Phoebe Liebling, Maya Chen, Yvonne Salinas, Eliza Gislason, Jimmy Vega, and Cheryl Holtzman. Thank you all. I also want to thank the many teachers, librarians, school officials, and others who helped encourage folks to apply. I do wish we had been able to support every last applicant. We got some really, truly wonderful applications. And then I'm also very grateful to our 3 guest poets who are here to read today, Ashaki Jackson, Matthew Cuban Hernandez, and Jessica Abhugattas. Thank you so much for being here. Finally, there are a couple other people in particular I'd like to thank. The first is Amanda Gorman herself, as well as her whole team. Amanda's been incredibly supportive of this prize. As you might imagine, her days are pretty flooded with doing things like reading poems to the United Nations Assembly, as she did last week. But she's made it very clear that no matter how busy she is, it means an immense amount to her to be able to inspire and support young poets in the same way she found inspiration and support at Beyond Baroque. So I just want to say thank you, Amanda, for your generosity and your inspiration. We'll be hearing from her a little bit later. Finally, I'd like to thank in particular our next speaker, our board president, Shonda Buchanan. It was Shonda, along with Jim Zukin, who got together with me to propose the idea of launching this prize in honor of Amanda. Shonda's a true visionary, and she also happens to be a great poet herself. So I'm going to turn it over to Shonda, I think, now, and just want to say once again, thank you everyone for being here, and thanks for bearing with us with our technical problems. Ivana, I think, will be back in a minute to do a little bit of emceeing, but for now, the great Shonda Buchanan.
Oh, I love being called the great Shonda Buchanan, Quentin, thank you. I had a friend who used to call me Shonda La Grande, the great, which of course gave me confidence, particularly as a young poet. I'm so incredibly grateful and happy to be here to welcome and usher in our new poets, our new Amanda Gorman Poetry Prize and Scholarship Poets. Congratulations to everyone. And you are now indoctrinated into Beyond Baroque's mission, which is to champion the love and the art of poetry and to spread the love and the art of poetry with all of your peers, and also encourage them to enter the contest next year. So I'm so grateful for everyone. I think, Quentin, you covered a lot of people in your thank you, and of course Janice, and I'm so incredibly grateful to get that the donation from Janice Littlejohn, particularly because she is such a visionary herself within the Los Angeles poetry and arts community, the literary arts community, and then also where I am a Los Angeles Institute for the Humanities Fellow, which Janice is the executive director of. So just to have her support and that all of that support is incredible. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, Amanda Gorman. I remember when she read at the inaugural, the presidential inaugural event, and I, with the rest of the country, probably the world, was crying because as a person in America, an African-American woman who honors her American Indian ancestry, and then also a poet in America, and to have that element, that sense of self and selfhood represented there, to have the sense of my craft and my vocation and the impact of language and what language can do represented there was such an important moment in our history. And of course, every accolade that you have gotten, Amanda Gorman, you deserve. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to read my poem, but I'm going to read my poem in a way that I like to do when I give readings myself. So yesterday was Orange Shirt Day, which is, I have on my orange shirt today. I was wearing orange yesterday as well. But Orange Shirt Day is a commemorative day for those Indigenous children across North America, and yet particularly in the Canadian lands who were taken from their homes and lost their lives, and essentially were disappeared until graves were found. And then, of course, you know, those who we know in North America and likely South America, Central America, who were taken from their families. So we want to honor those children who had, again, who live within us still. And so I'm going to just introduce this in a way that I do in my readings and then in certain ceremonies as well. And I'm going to just sing a little bit of a Chumash children's honoring song. One of the nations of the California lands where I live and write, occupied lands, one of the nations here are the Chumash Nation, their people. And I'm going to just sing a little song from the Children's Chumash honoring song. And then I'll go into my poem. We ya 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 yo, ya 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 yo, we ya ya yo, we yo, we we ya hey yo. Where I yo, 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 where hey yo. Orange Shirt Medicine Poem. For their long walk, for their hidden bones, for their stolen lands, for our children taken, their beds cold, their water claimed, their hair cut, for their breath, for their breath, for their breath, for their bodies, for their language erased, for their names changed, for their regalia burned, for their ceremonies halted, their lives gilded, vows crushed, sunrises that perished, their ghosts clinging, their ghosts. For all their mothers and fathers, for our mothers and fathers, for their grandmothers and grandfathers, for my great-great-grandmother, Grandma Peak, full-blood Delaware Cherokee, for her terrible memories undone, for her saffron heart. She tells me, call their names. Call their names, Cherokee, Chumash, Cowessess, Choctaw, Oneida, Metis, Cree, Gravan. Call their names. They belong to someone. They belong to someone. Children belong to their parents, to this earth, to the sky, to the stars. And they hear our prayers. This song, this poem, they turn in the earth. We belong. They sing from their graves. We are here. We turn, make a new road. We rise, sing a new song for our fires still burning, for our blankets embedded with Lakota stars, for what was never returned, for what can never be returned, and for what will return, for what is always here. I will tell grandmother, I will tell. Yeah, 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 where, yeah, 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 where, yeah, 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 where, yeah, 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 way, hi-yo, way, 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 hi-yo. Oh, Ashay, which, Wado. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I also get the honor of introducing the Amanda Gorman video. So I want to I said a lot about Amanda Gorman, but I really want to read her biography because I believe it's important to give our due where our due needs to be given. So I'm just going to read this biography from the Poetry Foundation. Amanda Gorman was born and raised in Los Angeles. She is the author of the book of poetry, The One for Whom Food is Not Enough. She attended New Roads in Santa Monica and Harvard University, where she graduated cum laude with a degree in sociology. Her art and activism focus on issues of oppression, feminism, race, and marginalization, as well as the African diaspora. In 2014, Amanda Gorman was named the first Youth Poet Laureate of Los Angeles. And in 2017 was named the first US National Youth Poet Laureate. She has performed at many prominent venues, including the Obama White House, the Library of Congress, Lincoln Center, and on CBS This Morning. She has received a Genius Grant from Ozzy Media, as well as recognition from Scholastic Inc., Young Arts, Glamour Magazine, College Women of the Year Awards, and the Weeby Awards. She has written for the New Yorker Times newsletter, The Edit, and penned the manifesto for Nike's 2020 Black History Month campaign. Gorman is the recipient of the Poets and Writers Barnes & Noble Writers for Writers Award and is the youngest board member of 826 National, the largest youth writing network in the United States. She has 2 books of poetry forthcoming from Penguin Random House, and I believe that one of the books are already out. Sing, the title is not here, but Sing Something Sing. Gorman is the founder of a nonprofit organization called One Pen, One Page, which runs a youth writing and leadership program. In early 2021, as we all know, she was selected by President Joe Biden to read her original poem, The Hill We Climb, at his inauguration. Amanda Gorman lives and writes in Los Angeles. Thank you, Amanda Gorman.
Hey everybody, it's Amanda. I am so happy that Beyond Baroque is celebrating the recipients of the Amanda Gorman Future Voices Poetry Prize and Scholarship. You all are incredible writers and creators, and I'm just so beyond grateful to Beyond Baroque for naming such a prize after me, as well as supporting me throughout my career. I remember being a teenage poet and looking for a place where I could work on my craft and finding it in the walls of Beyond Baroque and literally begging my mom to take me to the Saturday workshops that were being held there at that time. So thank you so much to the writers who applied and the ones who are represented here today. You are the future voices we need. And thank you so much to Beyond Baroque for always doing this work.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shonda and Quentin, and to Amanda Gorman, a huge shout out. We are now going to move with our readings from the scholarship and contest winners. We're going to start with the scholarship winners, and I'll be presenting each poet as before they read. So first off, just want to give everybody a huge shout out and congratulations to all our contest winners, and as well as to our scholarship winners. So first off, I want to bring to the stage our first scholarship winner. Lucia Kornzweig. Lucia currently writes about her observations connected to human themes, such as the meaning of home and living in a city. Poetry is an incredibly meaningful tool for exploring these themes. She uses poetry to give shape and texture to her life experiences, and use words and ideas to express the lens through which she experiences the world. Please welcome Lucia Kornzweig.
Hi, thank you so much. The poem that I'm going to be reading is called A Light in Observation. All right. Lately, I have been transfixed by the quiet but miraculous beauty of lemon trees. They're spread all over LA. It's a common breed, the species of lemon trees that sprout tiny, brilliant lemons like pearl armor. Street and backyard dancers move in the wind. Air breathes along trilateral leaves, and limbs create a waterfall of gold chimes. If I could learn, I would teach my breath to move the way the limbs of the lemon tree move, if I could learn. Peeking over the brick and steel fences of yards, leaned against the lush plant vines that drape over so many brick walls, in the corners of parking lots, reaching out to touch telephone wires, crouched behind gas stations and alleyways, stands uniformly in neighborhood streets and in sidewalk lanes. They go unnoticed, but sometimes, in the early morning or deep afternoon, I see what they are. They catch my eye in their corners of the city as I walk my dog and drive home from school. North Glendale Boulevard moves by rapidly in the late March sun, but not so rapidly that I do not witness the flashing of gold, green, auburn spiral laid behind a brick wall and black metal gate. Gold orbs flicker in the air just as the blaring car horns on the freeway overpass fill my head with a sudden haze. Should I have captured it? What is brighter, the flashing of an iPhone screen or that of an image of instinct? The image, the gold figure in green and gray, the lingering components that remain. They astound me. I am left in awe of their glorious garlands, spirals of leaves and sprouting lemons trickling and colliding. Lemon trees, I see what they are. Somehow, the fleeting moment given to observation prevails, and somehow, amidst the flicker and flashing and steady shine of the many lights of Los Angeles, the light from the lemon tree's hiding place is enough. The fantastic way that so much bounty and nature can be condensed into one natural body, whose home overlooks gray panels and cafe signs and freeway overpasses and bus stops and gas station walls. The body that leans against the city's assets with a gorgeous poise and that possesses such a humble worth. The body whose caress the human-made world resists. I see their light orbs cradled by leaves, hanging over every edge and corner. Lemon trees perplex me. How can so much intricacy be confined to a natural being? So much grace be composed in a part of our landscape, in a member of our daily lives? In our consumption with self, we never notice, too busy searching for purpose to see, the purpose that the lemon tree fulfills, unfailingly blooming natural chaos around every turn and corner, a faithful embrace on a city that, in its humming, remained in emotions so self-involved and so arrogant that it never knew it was being touched. The lemon tree stood humbly, standing up and bearing its gold gifts for all of us to see long before I noticed. Before I even noticed or realized that a lemon tree is a gift. And like so many others, lemon tree is a being that life has given us and that I took for granted. It makes me a little sad, but mostly I am in awe. What more is there? What else do I pass? And that is a crucial color strewn into my daily life occurrences that I haven't seen yet. In the dull drone of buzzing and consciousness we have created, will anything new bring forth its brilliance to see, or will we? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucia. That was a beautiful poem. See an end quote by Ashaki, blooming natural chaos. And the images of the lemon trees are so beautiful. Definitely a poet of place. So thank you really for sharing that with us. All right, hope everybody is ready to hear more poetry. Now I'd like to welcome our next poet, also a scholarship winner, Simone Wesley. Simone is a born and raised San Francisco native. Her work consists in experiencing grief and coming to terms with juxtaposing aspects of her own identity, primarily race and class. She's learned to use the emotions brought up by the circumstances to create poetry that not only serve as an outlet for themselves, but also provides a conduit for others as well. So please welcome Simone Wesley.
Hello, thank you for having me. Today, I'm going to be reading my poem, Spaghetti. Writing to me is like cold spaghetti, the kind we ate in the recession, the kind we eat now. It is hard and chunky, disobeys the fork. Rubbery and odd, tomatoed and cool. I hold conceit against it. I loathe it. I take a bite. It is an emblem of bad times, of hardship and grind. It wears me down in plastic containers and plastic wrap, on white plates, paper, or porcelain. It is cheap and it is simple, fulfilling every carbohydrate need in my body. It is quick and it is ready on the table at 6 o'clock. Writing to me is like cold spaghetti, with beans and peas and whatever you throw in it, like that changes anything. I hate it like I've hated my mother, like I hate my father. It's a melting pot of emotions and tears, red paste and blackened herbs. It's a melting pot in boiled water, leaving me limp and languid, flexible and clean. Until I free the sauce from the jar, throw away the lid, and it's an odd baptism. How long does spaghetti last? 1 day, 2, in the fridge, in the back, in the front, always appearing in last night's dinner, on the table, on the fork. I resent it like I've resented myself, my upbringing, my wealth, my race, and it congeals like my insecurities, thick and clotted and old, never quite coming off the pan. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. That was really powerful and a poem with so many layers too. But just the sort of description of writing is like cold spaghetti. It's probably my favorite. But also like melting pot, a melting pot of emotions. It's an interesting sort of metaphor there. All right, thank you so much for sharing that with us. All right, so now we'll hear from our final scholarship winner of the 2022 Poetry Prize. So Indigo Eatmon. Indigo's writing has always come naturally to her. As a shy, introverted child, she's enjoyed that writing is a way for them to express themselves and thoughts without being the loudest kid in the room. Poetry is a way for Indigo to express her artistic side, which began to develop in high school with the help of her English teachers and creative writing club. She is currently a newly college student, and she will be majoring in journalism and she's continuing to explore her career in poetry as well. So please welcome Indigo Eatmon.
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Just to start out, I apologize for any background noise. It was a little bit hard for me to find a quiet place on my campus today. But today I'm gonna be reading a poem called Melanated Me. And it's just kind of about my life and some of my values. And every time that I look back to this poem, it just helps keep me grounded and just reminds me where I'm from. Okay, Melanated Me. My skin is my cocoon, has always shielded me from the outside. My confidence came and went, but my skin stayed glued on tight, brown, resilient, and not easily broken. I am from deep, melanated roots, which run from the motherland to underneath the deep, boundless sea that dances and sways with the creatures of the ocean, to Louisiana, Mississippi, and Opelousas, to the home of the Black Panthers in Oakland, California. I am from bubbling, steaming, deep pots of gumbo, patiently waiting on the warm kitchen stove to be devoured. Each piece of okra, shrimp, sausage, a different value. Unity, education, strength. Each crab leg, the legs that we stand on. Tired but strong, never caving, always triumphing. Each ladle I spoon into my porcelain bowl represents a different ancestor, a different reason that I persevere and never let my crown fall. Amira, my middle name, it means princess. I am the princess of loud family camping trips, Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday song, Kwanzaa and Black Eyed Peas on New Year's. Barbecues and 8-hour days at the hair shop, each crisp cornrow, blissful box braid, illuminating my brown eyes and soft baby hairs, connecting me, calling me to my culture. I never wished to be different, but I stayed in my cocoon, warm, comforting, everything I knew. I was seen, of course. How couldn't I be? A daisy in a field of poppies, an apple in a bowl of oranges. But I flew under the radar, concealed myself. I have now broken out of my cocoon, flying, pollinating, spreading my wings for the whole world to see. My skin has remained glued on, tight, strong, and unbothered, and now it shines, it glows 10 times brighter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Indigo. Daisy, I'm seeing a comment here from Fiona, a daisy in a field of poppies. The imagery there is also quite astounding. Thank you for sharing. All right, before we get started with showcasing the contest winners of the Poetry Prize, we're going to take a brief pause with that, and instead would like to welcome two of our guest poets that are joining us today, and you'll also be hearing some beautiful poetry from them. So first, I'd like to welcome Ashaki Jackson. Ashaki is the author of the poetry chapbooks Surveillance and A Language Lesson. She is a co-founder of Women Who Submit, a community that supports women in submitting their literary works to top-tier journals. And she is also the publisher at The Offing Literary Journal. Welcome, Ashaki.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm going to start off with a, a celebratory poem. And then in the time that I have left, I'm going to soften it a little bit and honor my paternal grandmother who passed away years ago, but still sticks with me. The first piece is called American Negro. 1. My hair is a bird of paradise in the heat. I change skins each summer. My body rips and heals like a watermelon with good sugar. I am red-boned. Men call me red. I am a thick trunk magnolia. I shade. I read Psalms for lifelines. 2. My savings account glints like bullion or is swollen like cotton bales. My body has not known children. I am a full-grown rattle, shaking with well-fought joy. I have 2 parents and inheritance. My living room is coated in books. I know not to end my life with a preposition. My lexicon is built of meat. My people know feasts. 3. My body is the last slave ship to these states. I, sovereign nation, look at my names and count my origins. My genes so tight you can see my tribes. Colleagues remark on my speech. I know white speak like water. I curl my tongue like politics. I speak from every angle. My family named me Wonder. I was born to be mantle and joy. Call me saint. 4. My grandfathers were 6 feet fine. I am towering. Common men giggle at my miles. My grandmothers were bird-boned and quick to escape. They carried weapons on their bodies. I wear a very good bra with space for a blade. Sharp is what my teachers called me, who did not understand the difference between smart and survival. I have no criminal history and a fire on my body. I am a burning bush telling you what to do. You will listen. 5. I have a debutante dress and good manners. I respect my parents' corrections. I have home training. Listen to my use of ma'am and sir. My Black hellos are generous. My take care sounds like go north. I speak in warnings. 6. I hold open doors for my elders. They remember when we couldn't make eye contact with white folk. I remember telling that white boy that I would skin him clean if he grabbed my hair again. I looked him dead in his fears. I have audacity and permission to own this body. 7. My gut is a sanctuary. Men pray here. I am portable safety. Call me North Star. Ogle my shine. I lead Negroes out of bondage. I use shea butter. Children slide their hands along my calves, searching for mama. Grown adults lean on me, call me sturdy, and know I will not bend. I am tired. So in the last remaining minutes, I would like to honor my grandmother with these morning poems. Safety. Ablution with her thick pink came. To reimagine her death as painless ascension. The even space between rosary. To prepare her coffee. To deny. A retreat into her hollows. What privilege to avoid seeing your dead for their moment of flesh. Remember the faiths of men in other worlds, setting their deceased ablaze or stirring ground bone into a meal. All sacrament. Mornings, my body measures solitude by reach. How wide this bed? Who will treat this body to a meaningful farewell? Homegoing. When they hear our wails, they rush home. Grab candles to rest on your slow breathing body. You see the glow and think daylight. Spectators tangled in your drawn net surround your hammock. Salt and map your body. Repast. In the breathless morning, your waxy hammock, your soot dusting the floor, your smell resting in the crevices. My grandmother had a very large laugh, even though she was 4 feet 11 inches. This is for her. And the poem is called Her Laugh Startled Birds from the Canopy. In this light, her skin resplendent. The missing breast returns like a runaway child. Her chest opens, a billow of wild bodies, propelling up and up in fury. The trees seem to hoist. The air crowds so quickly. And the last piece, I forget the anniversary of her death. Loss is a season. Do not interrupt when I ask myself, who was crying? Who now wears her scent without ceremony? My memory begins to swallow the grave. Each lapse, a new cocoon. I am startled by my mourning voice. I want a turn, grace, and a full throat of hibiscus. I am tired of being naked on all sides, my humanity showing. There's Christmas in the line. I spend every day forgetting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashaki. Those beautiful poems to your mom, and yeah, there's so much love in the chat for you, and you know, just a lot of beautiful imagery, and just powerful poetry. It's always a pleasure to hear you read. And for everybody that's in the Zoom room, just know that you can get exclusively copies of Ashaki Jackson's chapbook, Surveillance. And you can get that at the Beyond Baroque bookstore. So if you're in the area, visit us and get a copy of Ashaki's book. And also in the PDF that we are sharing, there are some hyperlinks there in some of the slides. And you can check out some of the literature being published in the offing, where Ashaki is a publisher. And if anybody would like to submit a poem, I'm sure they have more info on their website. So thank you, Ashaki. All right. Next up, our guest poet. I'd like to welcome Jessica Abhugattas. Jessica is a Kundiman Fellow and the author of Strip, which won the 2020 Etel Adnan Poetry Prize. Her poems appear or are forthcoming in Guernica, The Rumpus, the Adrat Journal, and other places. She received her MFA in poetry from Antioch University in Los Angeles. Welcome, Jessica.
Hello, so honored to be reading with all of you today, and congratulations to all the winners and scholarship recipients. Like Ashaki, I'm also going to be reading some poems honoring my mom and my grandma. Here's the first one. Some of these are persona poems. The Wedding. They dressed her mother when the roads reopened. The women draped a black cloak over her shoulders until she was safe inside. The church lit up like a jack-o'-lantern. The boys rubbed their faces with onions, inhaled deep to clear the fumes from the gunfire. Souls turned over in their graves. Your parents married on All Hallows Eve while it rained, bullets over the minarets. No reception, but your grandfather, may he rest in peace, served a supper of lamb and rice with pine nuts. Inside his house, they ate and were full. Your parents were young. Your father loved your mother, and she was afraid. Watching my mother. Beside the fourth Thunderbird, a suitcase splayed open. She collects her clothes from the driveway. The yellow jumper collapses into a million threads of saffron. She keeps dropping them. They wither and dissolve, petal by petal, into pavement. Her hands are rivers. Her eyes, mascara bats. Her hair is crying. I am 5 and perfect. She tells me about her 100 lives. The price of a kiss is your life, Ruby. In my first life, I was a speck inside my mother, a chord vaulted in the cathedral of her throat, a homily. In my next, I cropped my hair like a man, worked late at night in a sock factory. Then my husband carved crosses from olive trees. Where a high-rise hotel now stands, my love and I peeled oranges by the sea. I was widowed. My youngest was 3. My eldest married under a veil of smoke, only 17. My first death, barbed wire kissed my scalp. I walked to the medic past men who would have shot. By my second, I could afford a telephone. I left my house in perfect condition. Neighbors called, asking how I could leave before we kissed goodbye. I told them God has written this fate. I have mustered enough tears to drown these shores. I do not wish for love or wealth. I had a palace. I lived in peace. When we arrived at the apartment, we slept, all together on one mattress, your mother and aunt and me. When I crossed the border, I fell on my knees. I kissed the ground 100 times. I'm going to read one more. When Almaza became the earth. Go and find my great-grandmother's grave in Bethlehem. Go and find her buried under rubble, entire cities, all they contain, doctors and poets, the newlywed and the newly born, a cavalcade of kisses. Find them drinking coffee and smoking their Marlboros. Tell them the news of their non-existence. Go and find my great-grandmother's grave in Bethlehem. Go find my name in stone. Tell her my hands take the same shape as her hands, hands that held my grandmother as a baby, hands that rolled to boon bread, hands that my grandmother kissed, then folded in a coffin when her mother became the earth. Her hands, her land. Go and tell her the news. She's risen. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Jessica. Beautiful persona poems, as you put it. Thank you. And honoring our ancestors from at least our 2 poets, guest poets. I think with Jessica, one thing I wanted to mention is also that Kundiman organization is also based in the US, and they are, their work is focused mostly on supporting Asian American writers. So please feel free to visit their website and find more resources that could be helpful to you. All right, so now back to our scholarship winners and contest winners as well. We heard from our scholarship winners, and now we are going to hear from our contest winners. So congratulations to Tina May, Jessica Kim, Fiona Lu, and Anna Yang. First off, we're going to start with a video from Anna Yang. She couldn't make it to today's virtual reading, but she's prepared a pre-recorded video. Just a few words about her. Poetry is important to her because, in the words of Audre Lorde, poetry is not a luxury. It is a vital necessity of our existence. Thus, she writes poetry because it has the power to give a voice to those who go unheard, spinning thoughts into stanzas and bridging divisions with the unveiling of a common humanity. So here's a brief video from Anna Yang.
The poem we'll be reading is entitled At My Dinner Table. 1. In summer, I suck oil from the fried skin of duck breast. Beijing Kaoya, Mama whispers to me. I struggle to say it back. 2. Dark green and electric cyan stare at me from the shoe cabinet, all 6 sizes too big. Sister drops the unwanted pairs, but my ankle still juts from the slipper like misplaced chopsticks. 3. Giants crowd around the dining table, a safety hazard 6 from the hands of my sister. You get 8 dumplings, Grandma counts as she scoops them into her plate. 8 means fortune. My bowl rings with impatience, knowing it will be filled by my own unskilled hand. 4. We swat at mosquitoes before dusk as the 10-hour feast begins, forming bubbles of yellow under my skin. Mama soaks me in turmeric paste. Look, they match. Sister points to her leg. I look up to meet her eyes, and we admire our fresh meat. 5. When the table dries, Sister drags the duck head from her bowl, laced with shredded cabbage and leftover broth, dripping. Pull, she says. Our tight fists intertwine, 2 pieces of a wishbone.
All right, shout out to Anna. Okay, so now I'd like to present our next contest winner, Fiona Lu. Just a little bit about Fiona. Fiona has been writing for as long as she can remember. Her first story was a crudely stapled together packet of paper with messy crayon scribbles that she cheekily named Fiona. Whether it be a poem, play, comic, or novel, all her life, what's mattered to her the most is that she is telling a story. Some of their favorite writers are Carmen Maria Machado, Ocean Vuong, King-Ming Chang, V.E. Schwab, and Franny Choi. Please welcome Fiona.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here today, and I'm so happy that you're all here to listen to me read my poems. So the first poem that I'll read is one I submitted to the prize. It's called Cities. I'll let you in on a secret. I have so many ghosts and nowhere to put them. This is only a problem because none of them are mine. Another secret. There are no doors in my city, just streets bleeding wine, skies perpendicular to grief. Here I have gnawed every creation myth to the bone, witnessed death in the palms of splayed hands. But remember, before this city became a city, it was a prayer, a litany, 1,000 whispers dressed in light. In my dreams, I am in every graveyard shaped like a splayed hand, where I fold ghosts into origami cranes. My second poem is one called Hunting. On Saturday, you went hunting with the brother whose name you never learned. In a moor shaped like a fist, he prayed and prayed until the lavender blossoms forgot his face. You watched as he tore sparrows into endings that sung, minced rabbits into atlases of light. This was the second time your brother has tried to teach you about survival. The first happened at the top of a staircase, where he taught you that every good son dies when they're told to, that he is not a good son. As your brother drew a blade, unraveled the pelts of smaller things, you wondered what kind of boy sharpens his breast to knife point, what kind of boy becomes your vice. But this poem is not about your bruised shins at the bottom of a staircase, nor is it about the time he stuck his hand into a fish tank and squeezed, no matter how much you want it to be. Rather, it's about your brother's favorite bruises, his calloused palms, the way he always clasps his hands in apology before he feasts. Okay, for my last poem, I'll be reading one called Misstep. The girl who loves you takes you to her favorite ocean. She shows you every method to worship a body of water, breathing and unbreathing into carnage the way all bodies do. You do not tell her about the soot-stained tsunamis in the whirls of your fingers, or about how your favorite bruises are the ones you inherit. You do tell her about lighthouses, about jagged cliffs, about hyacinths growing on the water. She nods and silvers your dream in which August bubbles under the skin of martyrs, and her mother is an open wound, crying in the red dawn. You never liked mothers because they remind you of the sand, and the sand reminds you of your sins. All the girls caught on the nape of your neck, your right rib forgotten in a lighthouse. The times you misspelled girlhood as godhood. She carves her mouth into the shape of a secret, kisses the whorls of your fingers one at a time. It is only after you get home do you understand what she was trying to say. That before godhood, there was girlhood. And before that, there were bodies. Celestial bodies, yes, but bodies nonetheless. In the darkness of night, you press your lips against the whorls of your fingers, the same ones she kissed. Oh, again, thank you so much for having me read here. I'm endlessly grateful to be receiving this prize. And most of all, thank you for all of your kind comments.
Thank you, Fiona. That was amazing. I just want to echo that one part of your poem from cities, just that struck me so much. Before the city became a city was a prayer, a litany, 1,000 whispers dressed in night. It's just beautiful. And yeah, so much love in the chat. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your 3 poems. All right. All right, so now we are going to show a second video from one of our contestants, Jessica Kim, who won second place. Jessica is the author of Light, the runner-up for Animal Heart Press's Chapbook Prize. She is also the 2021-2022 LA Youth Poet Laureate, 2022 National Youth Poet Laureate runner-up, and a Young Arts finalist in writing. She writes poetry as a revolution against one-dimensional stereotypes and hatred in our country. Now and in the future, she hopes to create a communal space for young poets to engage in civic discourse, challenge systemic barriers, and empower one another. So here's a brief video from Jessica.
Hi, everyone. I am Jessica Kim. And although I'm unable to be at the virtual event as I'm on a plane when you see this, I'm really honored to be named the second place winner of the inaugural Amanda Gorman Poetry Prize. Today, I'll be reading 2 poems that have been recognized by this contest. Oma only knows how to break things. Today, she breaks apart the body of a marinated horse crab and devours it whole, hunger larger than the coat she has occupied for over a decade. 2 years ago, she broke the gas pipes in the kitchen of our one-room apartment, using it as an excuse to move out. Oma only taught me to mend things, telling me I am the better daughter, the better immigrant, and so I occupy the cracks between her imagined life and the nights she spent crying in the bathtub. At school, I could not utter a single word of English until 2nd grade, and Oma brought me to 5 different psychologists who all said that I was fine. In the book box under my desk, my teacher found all the stories I've scribbled on the backs of scholastic magazines and reassured my Oma that one day I'd become a writer. Now, Oma asks me to teach her the English alphabet whenever we have dinner together, and she can pronounce each letter almost perfectly, but still cannot differentiate between word and world. Oma says she'll move back to Korea once I go to college, and I imagine the hurt of being worlds apart, tasting each other's chuseok meals through phone calls. I still don't call myself a writer, not when words have magnified the distance between us, between the memories I have of Oma and my withering Korean. If I could, I would break into her mouth when it ripens into the shape of an O, when she's calling my hunger name, a name I am embarrassed by. Oma put half of herself in my name, and on some days, I think of that as a prophecy for the quiet life I will live, devoted to everyone but myself. Forget about fixation. As a child, I could not sit still for more than 2 minutes, and I've been in perpetual motion ever since, impulsive but lonely. Oma would chase after me with the coats and contact lenses I've forgotten to pack in my suitcase. I know now that I will never be Oma, only a daughter with the face of a hungry Korean at a seafood buffet, a face broken into worlds I could devour while sitting still. The next poem I'll be reading is titled Self-Portrait as X Approaches Infinity. And this is inspired by a lot of math. I really love math, despite being a poet. Despite all the curves on my skin, I am proof of a perfect girl in the making. My fingernails crescent-shaped or half-bitten, depending on how docile I want to be. After all, most girls are double-edged, lips bloated like late morning rose petals but turned bloodless by midnight. From the left, I exit my body. From the right, I carve a birthmark out of my skin before I can find myself among empty wine glasses. I am defined as a discontinuity, how I will not exist after the dinner party is over, shatter into girl fragments like a fallen chandelier. And even if I take the anti-derivative of my broken body, how I will become ghost and not girl. And perhaps this is the most perfect I will ever be, meaning constant, asymptote, never quite there yet. I've been gone from my makeshift home in California for too long, so I'm flying over from Manhattan at 3 a.m. Forgive me. I am supposed to be reaching my destination in the next 7 minutes, but I am nowhere near home. The limit must be undefined. That's the glory of it all. I wonder when my limbs will be recognized as a country, an invited guest and not some foreign misnomer. The house seems emptier. The furniture in the living room has immigrated to the bedroom to make space for my ghost to consume it. I integrate my white brick house from 0 to infinity, watch it bulge out, then converge to the white spots below my eyes. FX is not functioning today. She should go home. Even the plumpness of infinity, boasting its slender waists, is not enough to unteach girlhood. To find then lose X is to watch the overhead city lights flicker on and off, and I won't know if I am real or imaginary. To trace the trajectory of my flight home, linear like a row of Polaroid girls in satin dresses, stoic, to limit myself inside a grid until there is nothing left of me, a place oddly resembling home, as if I could ever belong. Thank you.
Beautiful couple of poems from Jessica Kim, our current LA Youth Poet Laureate. So shout out to Jessica. And also, just want to plug the her first debut collection, published by Animal Heart Press. I put the link in the chat for y'all to check it out if you would like to purchase it. And also feel free to connect with Jessica, as she has also a lot of projects as a publisher as well. I think she is the editor-in-chief of the Lumiere Review. All right, so we have some poet laureates in the house, given that we are also blessed with the presence of Tina May. And she is the winner of the first place winner of our Amanda Gorman Poetry Prize contest. Tina May is a 17-year-old writer from California and the inaugural OC Youth Poet Laureate. Congrats. Her work has been published or awarded by the New York Times, the Library of Congress, UNICEF, the American Library of Poetry, the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future Awards, and more. She is also the youngest recipient of the Atlanta Review International Poetry Award, in addition to being a Best New Poets nominee and a 2-time Scholastic National Gold Medal winner in poetry. As a high school student, she developed an app to help visually impaired youth write stories with their voice, which was awarded by the US Congress. She is also the founder and editor-in-chief of Visions, a literary and arts magazine. Currently, she is working on a new poetry collection titled Spacetown, set to be published in September 2022. Welcome, Tina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me and for sticking it out to the end. The first poem that I'm going to read today is called Sampans. We grow up with the fishermen and the boys whose lips bleed of dissent. In the dark, we press prayers to our tongues for the grandmothers who grew out of village bones and for the daughters we never knew. I try to forget the home beyond the shore. I try to forget the fish-eyed boys, the warmth of fins dissected in their palms. When Baba prays to Shangdi, the air only drips of incense scumming through the throat of ancestors. Like skin, they are needled into a mother's pale belly, a heritage I fold myself into for ascendancy. I remember not the kisses logged with fresh water, not the monsoons stitching our bodies against the banks, but the summer when our accents went out like a house fire, or when the surgeons gutted themselves clean like a piece of mama's throat still in the village, still trying to be lost. She will tell me about her poreless tongue. She will tell me about our bodies bobbing like sampans off the shore, grateful and half drowned. And I'm going to be reading one more poem called Atlas, and this was written in dedication to my parents. 1. Mother hid me in the spaces between bones so I can sketch across the unknown of my flesh. So my topography is pressed flat with her immigration, so we are not smudged into the bruises of the earth. Where she was from, women grew from water, their heritage held in the jade of the river's womb like echoes stitched against the shore. If they could carve words out of water, then we could carve narratives from our skin, prayers from our lungs for all the daughters raised from bone, bodies from our bloodlines for all the ancestors without faces, without stories. We could sketch wingspans to wrap us in an equator, a latitude drawn from the outlines of our mothers, flowing, flightless. 2. My father in the picture is but a projection, a legacy suspended in 5 dimensions, preserved in roots. And in his stories, he is but a boy with a lineage beneath the river, a gaze reeled in by the fisherman's rod, a cartographer of his own origin. Like him, we hold on to action films and weave quests into our biography, maybe because the hero looks like a reflection we had once seen in a dream. Like him, I know what it means to trace the smudges on a treasure map and run away with nothing but a compass and blind ambition, and I know the truth when they say immigrants cannot be heroes. We cross oceans not as quests, but as whole generations, and he is like Atlas holding up the world for us, chasing all the things we left behind. 3. Perhaps someday I will be able to realize my skin is the map of the world, but today I can only whisper my name and compare my birthplace to paper towns, to the heroes they don't believe will ever be, to the memory of a daughter contoured in borders and bone. Today, I can only begin my quest to find my narrative in a land washed away, and my heritage in the ocean whose waves won't turn back, will not stop their dance until they wipe out the coordinates of the shore. 4. Maybe then I can plot where I'm meant to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. OC Youth Poet Laureate in the house. And also, Tina, are we able to purchase your collection, or do we have to wait a little bit?
Okay, so it's coming out next week. We're publishing it right now, but it's going to be available at Libro Mobile bookstore in Santa Ana.
Libro Mobile, all right. Shout out to Sarah, Rafael Garcia. Shout out to everybody in the OC. Hopefully y'all can come and visit us at Beyond Baroque. That invitation is open to everybody in the Zoom room. Just want to really thank all of our youth poets. Really, it's really an honor to be hosting this program and witnessing all the inspiring poems from that we heard today. And well, last but not least, we have one more poet to close out today's poetry reading, and the honor. I have the honor of presenting Matthew Cuban Hernandez. Matthew is the author of 3032. He is also the director of camp programming for Street Poets, Inc., and a co-founder of Spoken Literature Art Movement. And maybe you can find him hanging out at the Poetry Lounge open mics. So please welcome Matthew Cuban Hernandez.
Thanks so much. And congratulations to all the recipients, winners, all the good things, and shouts out to all the poets that we got to hear this evening. Man, I've been just soaking this in over here. Really, really beautiful. Super honored to be able to be here and to hear these young poets speak. Wow, absolutely incredible. I am positive that your voices and your work will shape the future of many, many poets to come. So it's so dope to hear y'all and to see y'all and to be part of this. I just have a handful of poems that I'll share with y'all before we get up out of here. And my first poem is a bit of an introduction. Who am I? A brown boy, a man-child, a grisly hug, a misjudged cover, an unexpected ending, a new story, an old treat, a rabbit in a bottomless hat, a surprise can of beans, a corner bag of rice, the boil, the simmer of seasoning, the ladle, the legacy, a pat on the back, a conversation worth having that never happens, a family secret, a crush, a cure, a harvest, a harness, a hailstorm, a journal, a couple of months of rent, an empty checking. Como se dice savings? I am a chuckle, a private message, a hidden in a look. I am a perfect place or a poem about working too long and all the other days are over now. Let to be rest and lived before I leave this house of God. Is it good enough? Who am I? Love passed like heirlooms, a hug personified. When I laugh, my ancestors introduce themselves. I am my family's wildest dreams, a river with no ocean to end itself into. I am my wife's silence, her belly laugh, the underlying conversations we have without words. I am the community that raised me, the Ritz Theater in Jacksonville, Florida, the yards where we played or where it was interrupted by the sunset or the sound of shots a block over, or dinner my parents weren't sure they could provide the morning of, but found a way. Maybe I am a yawn, an open mouth, some thought a scream, a loose door. I am looking at a lock like a hieroglyphic, looking at clothes like maybe it just needs a chance to know itself better. I am my mother's spirit, the wisdom she never tried for, the God she never grew out of. I am Yoruba, the Afro-Indigenous, the Native, and the Namaste, the melting of history pretending itself genetic. I am not yet, but I am soon to be. I am a waiting room holding a number patiently to be called. I am my mother's magic, ancestors' wildest fantasies. I am family story keeper, a wounded healer, a waiting hug, a present listener, an extended invitation, a warm home, a safe space, a driven leader, a focused student, a quad racial mixed boy with no people to resemble because I seem to resemble everything, a gated grin, a bellowed laugh. Who am I? Beautiful. No caveat, just beautiful and brilliant and brown and all these things that bounce and shake and take up space. I am dreams standing behind paper barricades, daring to ignite. I am my city's favorite sun, a blade of grass on a field in Paxson. I am Fuji's gifted bike, gunshots during church, Fuji's last breath, Will's last breath, Tavis's last breath, Clinton's last breath, Pablo's last breath, Nipsey's last breath, Ivana's breath. Will, her magic, her magic, her magic, her magic, her will to live, smirking at doctors who only care in 15 minutes at a time. I am what I believe, and I can believe that I am enough. The will to accept, the belief of abundance, extra toppings on everything, dessert after seconds. I am a second wind, a captured breath, a moment immortalized, an unquenchable thirst for love and learning, and most of all, who I am is just getting started. Thank you. Hold for internal applause. I'm so thankful to be in this beautiful space with so many incredible writers and so many incredible powerful just people. Like, oh my goodness. And so much of what has gone into this space has been a tribute to who we are and where we come from, whether it be the people we come from, or whether it be the people we want to grow from, or whether it be the experience that we grow from. And so with that vein, I wanted to share a little poem about my mama. I think we all have someone in our lives who shaped us fundamentally, whether it be from them being here or not anymore. And I think I've been saying this everywhere for the past few years, but I think we're all in an awkward state of grief, whether we're grieving a different lifestyle that we no longer have, friendships, literal people no longer being on this plane of existence. And some of us don't realize that we're grieving, so we're grieving really badly in unhealthy ways. And it's good to see that poetry is always a beautiful place to come. This poem is called The Sandia Crest. We took the longest mountain lift in operation to this top of the Sandia Crest. Just her and I. A quiet ride. The peaks climbing over a horizon like a giant sleeping beast, raising from sleep. The car was full. People of every type with phones and cameras trying to steal away a moment to look later or to prove to their friends that they were here. And others would murmur prayers for safety, an attempt to cull the fear, but you were calm. Not sure if you looked out the window, not sure if I did either. You, the most important parts of what I wanted to remember, the only sights worth seeing. At the top, we all spilled out like water from a burning home. 17, and all I wanted to do was borrow your rental car, go cipher with my new friends, and do hood rat activities. I went for a hike, left you at the top to take in of you, and you always loved the mountains. In Florida, it was a rare sight to see, but you loved life, and I don't remember that hike. I don't remember the parties. I don't remember the poems, but I remember you, tired, too hurting to walk with me, but just enough strength to summit with your child. It's hard to appreciate the beauty of your surroundings when you're just a kid. You don't know only 12 years remains and every second with her matters. When you're a child, you'll think about the mountains and how exciting it was, but you'll forget your mother's smile. And somehow you'll come back and know the view was never the point. That one day you'll be older and you'll summit the Sandia Crest again. And on that peak, and on every peak, she will be there, waiting, smiling, watching you as the most beautiful thing on God's green earth. Thank you. I just have one more quick poem to get up out of here with. I just shouts out to all of y'all. It's so dope. This is the best way I can spend my Saturday. As it was just gonna be sitting around wallowing in a bit, but it's always so beautiful to hear some poetry. So it's my last poem. I see myself falling sometimes, like a slow drift, not fast or scary, just a comfortable descent. I envision myself at my highest self, the golden glow I emit, light like a power source. I see myself as this, getting up early, making breakfast, going to bed on time, eating healthy, and think about how exhausting all of this sounds. The discipline it deserves, the apathy for a world intent to burn itself to the ground. This communal denial of demise, thinking maybe I can tame the untamable, the grasp of fame or perhaps universal appreciation. I see the good I could do, the good I'm doing, and wonder where I could be if limits were left unchecked. If I see myself a book afraid to read myself, like something chose to savor in an attempt to extending moments into days. I think sometimes seeing my path laid ahead of me, like ancestors holding hands, being shackled to a cloud, and I don't want to wake up. I see too much. I see sorrow like colors in every day a dead rainbow. I see so many stewing in a fury a few degrees away from bubbling over. And I am not scared of serial killers or psychotic clowns. I am scared of everyday folk less than $1,000 away from kicking in their neighbor's door. I am scared of the power going out and the gates to all our animal ripping through, and scared that we're all grieving in denial, bleeding hearts, afraid and angry that no one sees our pulling, hope on the ground. And I see myself in this too. I see what good I could do and how in doing so, I could lose everything that I am. And all my joy is thrown over shoulder, tossed like the stem of a dandelion, a prayer that will come true as long as you don't care where it lands. Thank y'all so much. And once again, congratulations to all the recipients.
Aspire, Matthew, thank you so much for closing us out and just hearing you for the first time, very first time, me and probably a lot of folks here in the room that we're hearing your poetry, really inspiring, and inspiring also from everybody that read today. I really want to thank you all for spending a Saturday afternoon with us, and hopefully you all will leave wanting to write more poems and getting your work out there.
Can we unmute ourselves and clap for everybody? That would be so great. and show your screens, and thank you. Please, everyone, unmute yourselves and give each other a round of applause. This is beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Just amazing, amazing. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. I'm so looking forward to seeing the young poets at some point in person. Ivan, continue to take it away. My apologies. I just wanted to clap for everybody.
Also good, thank you. With what you just said, to echo that, hopefully we can meet all in person in the coming months. Hopefully you all would be able to come to Beyond Baroque, and we are planning some great things with our inaugural cohort of poets. before everybody leaves, just wanna say that you can find more updates and more info about Beyond Baroque. Our next call for submissions to the what would be the second Amanda Gorman Future Voices Poetry Prize. You can visit our website and also follow us on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are working on our TikTok. But also, if anybody in the audience would like to donate, feel free to visit our website, beyondbaroque.charityproud.org. I think we can share the PDF just one more time in case some folks weren't here at the beginning of the reading, so that you all can see this PDF that we've prepared with so many links and info about our poets tonight. So before we close it out, either Shonda, Quentin, or any other poets, do you would like to say anything?
I'll just say thank you to everybody. It was so amazing. You guys are just so inspiring to all of us. I mean, those of us who work at a place like Beyond Baroque, to have, to see your work, to hear your work, it makes all the difference to us. It's why we do what we do. And so to all the winners, I can't wait to see what you do next. Like I said at the beginning, and thank you, Ashaki, Jessica, and Matthew. I'm always so glad to hear all of you read, and to have you welcome some new poets into the space, into the virtual space. So I hope to see everybody in person one of these days. But also just thank you to everybody else who came as well. Keep on supporting these poets, and I think they're all going to go really amazing places. So thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, y'all.
All right.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.